Yet I will be ripped apart before I choose a side. Yet the shadow of glass beneath my feet, it cuts this godforsaken street. Why can't we make things disappear? Steal the poison from our tears. Oh, crocky crosses pinned on the wall. Slow destruction of our childhood homes. High illusions, they seem no more, no more. Crocky crosses pinned on the walls. Slow destruction of our childhood homes. High illusions, they seem no more, no
Yes, guys, welcome back to another show, man. We got the title talk. I don't know why some of us are on it, like me and Dan Chelsea. I don't know why we're on the show, but we are here. We got Champions League talk. City crumbled. I want to know what these guys are saying. Where do they think we're going wrong? Have they got any sort of views as a sort of rival fans, as neutral fans? What are they saying? New signing, Marmoush announced, guys. Marmoush is now officially a Manchester City player. Will we see him this Saturday against Chelsea? Let's have a look at some people in the chat for a shout-out. Built to Ritesh, built to Itchy Goatspeed, Dusk, Yosko's in the chat, Louise. Yo, built to say, you must beat Bruges, man. This guy, I know it's bad when Saeed starts coming in my chat, innit? Speaking. He never comes in my chat when we're winning, yeah? But then as soon as we start losing, he's there. He's there. Built to Tyrese, Innovator, Brand Hall, SN, Scottish City fan. MK, big up to Mojis, Rehan, Annie. Hopefully you guys are all well. Smash these likes up, people, if you've not already done so. Wolfie, let me start off with you, man. You mentioned it then just before we come live. City throw away another lead. Like from your point of view, man, like, because obviously I guess you're a rival now because like we're rivals, isn't it? We're in that top
say
four
that again. We're rivals.
No, don't milk it, mate. Don't milk it. Don't milk it. You know what I mean? But bro, from your point of view, yeah, because obviously there's a lot of City fans in this chat, man. Tell us where you think we're going wrong. Like, what are you seeing on the pitch when you see like City crumble last night? Like, what are you thinking?
Well, one, I want you through because in the title race, if we're going to still call it that, we're the only ones not really involved in Europe, and I need your games to pile up. So I'm there backing City. But looking at it yesterday, it was just the weirdest defensive performance in that second half. It looked so unorganized, all over the place. You know, the weather wasn't great, but you were 2-0 up. You were 2-0 up. And it's like, just manage the game out from them. You know, take the crowd out the game, kill it off. It was almost Ange like that defending. You know what I mean? You expect that from Spurs. But it was just weird, man. You can't put it down to anything specifically in it. But were they cracking under the pressure? I don't know. Is the pressure of getting into those playoffs, getting that big? Is Champions League a priority for you boys this season? I mean, you're technically, you know, chasing the title race down. You're going to struggle in that. So Champions League surely has to be a priority. I think if you make playoffs, you will still get through that and you will still go deep in the Champions League. But I just don't understand. It's not a Pep style performance to throw away a 2-goal lead, bro. That was the most shocking thing for me. Forget all the performances. It's the fact, the position you were in. And what happened at the end was crazy.
Yeah, I just like from watching it, man. It's like as soon as Diaz went off at half time, and the chat will tell you because I said it on the watch along, I was like, we're losing this game. We're losing this game as soon as Diaz went off. Then we went 2-0 up, which was a bit of a, we didn't deserve to be 2-0 up. Let's just say it how it is. Yeah, we didn't deserve to be 2-0 up, but we go 2-0 up. But unfortunately, and again, we as City fans, we always say it. We say, oh, well, we need a third goal here. We need a fourth goal. Because we're that bad defensively. Like, we're literally sitting here saying, we haven't won the game until we've scored a third goal or fourth goal. And that's like literally what happens every single time. Popsy, man, let me bring you into this. Your team is known as a team that can defend. When you're seeing stuff like this for the third goal and he just heads it in, like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, you've got to seriously ask questions about this. Like, what is going on there? Bro, who is marking this guy, man?
Shocking. Look, I was watching our game, so I was not obviously aware of the full 90 minutes, but I saw the goals. I couldn't believe when you went 2-0 up that you actually let them back into the game. You know, like we did that against Villa, but this was just a complete crumble. I don't understand what sort of defending this is. It's absolutely mad. You've got, I don't know who that is there marking no one at all. And then you've got this guy that you've pointed out just like, hello, with his hand up, going, yeah, come on in.
Who is this guy here? Who's that? Is that
who is
Bernardo?
that? Who is that? And what is he
Who
doing?
is this guy here?
What
Who's
is
that
happening
chat?
there?
Is that Bernardo Silva? Who is it? Why is he there? Why is he not fucking there?
Probably in case it goes short to the free man towards the left of the take.
Yeah, but surely this guy here can deal with that.
Yeah, that's who I'd be looking at as the free man.
So so this guy here underneath this fucking emoji,
yeah,
right?
would be picked up by the guy
This
on the
guy?
edge. Nah,
Well,
yeah.
that's Foden. Foden can get this guy, and this guy surely should be at the fucking back
No,
post, man.
this guy, the second guy in for City should be picking up the press on the short pass if it goes there. The guy here on the edge of the D, that's your free man, I think.
Yeah, Nunes.
They clearly ain't got a clue what they're doing, right? Someone's not doing their job, at least one of them. And the goal was just mad. It was like, how easy was that? Who the hell was marking him? But let's just be real, LB. I don't think you've got the balance of your midfield right all season. And I think that is definitely affecting your defence. As much as we could look at them individually and say they were bad defensive errors, because they have been at Manchester City. Manchester City defenders are not shocking, but they're making out to be shocking. Now, individually, some of them have gone down. I got to say, I agree with that. And the injuries have killed you, but the balance in your midfield is completely. And I don't think people appreciate how much Rodri does and how important he is to your defense as well as your midfield. He's that good of a player. He's like the best in the position in the world by quite some distance, right? And I think that people have underestimated how much you were going to miss him. Now, I know there's City fans that have said if we lose Rodri, it's quite an important player to miss, but that's kind of an understatement because you've tried to make do with this in midfield and it's just not been good. Whether it's Bernardo and Kovacic together, whether it's Gundogan, whether it's a mix of them, whether you've tried to do something different in there with Stones or Rico Lewis in there, whatever you've tried, it hasn't worked, man. And look, I'm taking nothing away from Foden, De Bruyne and Haaland because we all know what they can do. They're phenomenal. But some of the other players, man, I'm looking at them now individually and as a collect, and each department defensively and midfield has been shambolic for Manchester City, which is why you're struggling in the Champions League and have written the league off for going for the title already. You're out of the Carabao Cup. If you play the way you are in the FA Cup, you're going to dump out of that as well. So I look at it and think this could be a real tough season for City. But I don't have much sympathy because you've kind of been there and thereabouts for the last decade, right? Winning everything. This was going to happen at one stage. You weren't going to just keep winning for the next infinity. Do you know what I mean? So this is always going to come to an end. You now need to rebuild. You started to do that in January. You'll continue to do that in the summer. And you will be back. There's no doubt about it. I also think Man City are fine from this 115 thing. They'll get non-compliance fines, and that will probably be about it, in my opinion. And you'll continue to spend money the way that you do in the summer to try and rebuild a squad. But look, I've got to be real. The game that I saw, only glimpses of it, I thought, wow, fair play, 2-0. I expected you to beat PSG. I thought they were awful when they come to the Emirates. They're not great this season. They've lost a lot of their players and not replaced them. But you just did your best to make the most of absolute hash of it, mate. If I'm honest with you, it was quite embarrassing to watch defensively from a Man City point of view. And I watched your watch along, like when the goals went in, and you were bang on, man. Yeah, I could see how frustrated you were, but you were on the money with everything you said. And I don't know what Kovacic was doing. I don't know what the hell they're doing marking there. These players, they've just got to hold L's at the moment. And as a department and individually, they're nowhere near the levels that's required to win trophies, in my opinion.
But Dan, are we saying here that they're a one-man, okay, not team, but midfield here? Is that like, surely they've had...
Yeah, I don't know that we're saying that. I got asked this the other day about Saka as well, saying, "Oh, you Saka FC and Man City Rodri FC and Liverpool Salah FC if they were to lose him." I don't think it's fair to say that because but what you could say is that they probably going to be. It's probably harder to win trophies when you have one of those players out. And that's what I would probably answer it. It's hard to get across the line. I mean, it's hard for us to get across the line anyway. But you get my point. With Manchester City, getting them across the line, I think they need a fit Rodri because that's how important he is. And I think we've underestimated how important Rodri is, to be fair. Because I still think you put Rodri into this side, they might not win the league, but I'll tell you what, they come close again, Man City. That's how good Rodri is. It's crazy.
Well, I've
improves
said this
every
many
department.
times, bro. I've said this many times. I said it in the summer. I said Rodri is the single most important player to City than any other player in world football. You take him out of the team, and we are so much worse without him there. And you know, and this is why City fans are getting frustrated. And I'm getting frustrated now as well because he got injured in September. It's now the 23rd of January, and we've still not got a DM. We've still not got a midfielder. Now, they couldn't have played last night anyway, so it wouldn't have made a difference last night. But, like, it's just frustrating. Like, right, we're getting all these players, and you want to be gassed, and I am gassed. I'm buzzing that we've signed Marmoush. We'll speak about him in a minute. And like, we've signed these two young defenders. It's great, but, like, we are going to struggle to get top four if we do not get a midfielder in. Because our midfield, Roms, bro, it's getting run through every game, man.
Yeah, I watched the second half of your game, and apparently PSG were good from the off, and your two goals not came against the run of play, but PSG were actually good from start to finish. They were just a bit unfortunate, but you're too, like you said, you're too easy to go through. And the thing with this Rodri discourse, even if you sign his replacement, there's still going to be a drop off because no one is Rodri. It's as simple as that. So it's a quite tricky one for Man City. But yeah, I agree with Potts. I just think you can speak all you want about your defense. I think Akanji actually started kind of well and kind of petered off in the game, but I just think it's the balance in the midfield. It just looks too easy. And I know a lot of people, like football, nothing's a foregone conclusion. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, City will still qualify. But I had to check the table and actually do my research. Brugge only need a point. City have to win. This is a must-win game. And look, City under pressure in past seasons normally get the job done. But I don't think it's as quite easy as people just think City are going to go through. I think they're going to actually take it to the wire, especially knowing they don't necessarily have to win the game. But it's concerning because whenever I think you may start to turn a corner, put 6 past Ipswich, albeit it is Ipswich, I thought, City can go on a little run here. And then you just see a result like that. And it's kind of like it's back to square one. But like you said, I've seen your linked with a Cam. I don't know much about him, but you're linked with Cambiasso. Yeah. I was reading it this morning on the way to work. And where does he play? Is he like
he can play anyway.
Is he Cambiasso's son, or is there a relation?
I don't actually know, bro, to be honest with you, but like
he could do it.
He can basically. I went on his transfer mark, yeah, and he can play anywhere according to that. I watched him on Tuesday. I watched him against Bruges, and he played left wing, left back, centre mid. So he's both footed. So I think he can basically play anywhere. Apparently, one of the journalists last night said City are going to make a double swoop this week for Douglas Luiz and Cambiasso from Juventus. So if we do that, at least we're making moves, and I think that will get us top 4. I don't think it'll be enough to win the Champions League, but it'll get us top 4, and we'll go from there, man. But yeah, it's just disappointing, man, because like I was so desperate. You know what? Going into yesterday, right? I didn't even need to win. I was like, just get me a point. I'm not asked about the win because for me, we're on a 6-game unbeaten streak yesterday, and then we lost. So obviously it's over now. Like, if we would have got a point there, I think that would have been a mint point at Paris. I know Paris have been poor this year in the champ, but still going there when they needed to win. It would have been such a good point, and like to lose it in that way, man. It's just slammed me back to the floor again now, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, man. And now I'm waiting until this game on fucking Saturday against Chelsea. I'll bring Dan into this now, and I'm like just not confident now at all for this Chelsea game, bro.
Really?
Really?
I don't think you have any reason not to be. I still feel
Are you
like
mad?
your favourite.
Did you not watch the game yesterday?
Like your favourites. Yeah, but I saw it yesterday. Do you know what? The only thing I'll say about City, right, is because I don't know if you'll notice this more than me. I feel like a couple of the players, they just need to move on now. I feel like a few of them, when the goals went in yesterday, their heads just dropped. They look like they can't really be bothered. They look like they got something else lined up. Edison just sat on the floor. He didn't even attempt to get up for the rebound off Bacola. Like, Bernardo Silva got megged in the box and just looked down at the hole in his legs. Like, it just wasn't even like bothered to react. And I just think a year ago that just wasn't happening. 2 years ago that they were like hungrier to get up, and I think that's probably why we saw Pep try and like try out different players, and Ortega coming for a bit, didn't he? I don't know, LB, you watch it more than me, but do you feel the same with City?
Well, bro, I think it's more than a couple. I've already said. So here's what I'd get rid of, right? So if Edison don't want to be here, which I don't think he does, because I think he wants to go Saudi, he can go. Ortega, I don't think he's good enough to be number one at Manchester City. I think he's a very, very good number two. I don't think he's quite good enough to be number one. I'd get rid of him because he's not going to want to be a number two next year, so he's got to go. Walker's got to go. Stones has got to go. Ake might have to go. Gundogan's got to go. Kovacic has to go. Bernardo has to go. Grealish has to go.
Bloody hell, who's left?
Need about
Not a
8
lot.
players.
We need about 8 players. But
I think what you'll
we've already
find though
started to make
is
moves.
what you'll find is a few of them will go, but there'll be a couple that will pick themselves back up as the team starts to feel a bit more hungry again.
Yeah,
I think you'll always find that. I've seen this at Chelsea before when our like legendary team come to an end. It's actually surprising how many players just drop off the face of the earth that quickly. Like some of them are great one season, the next season they're just complete decline. So, but by the way, this game at the weekend, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a snooze fest or not, to be honest with you.
No, I don't think it's going to be a snooze fest because we can't defend for shit. So you'll score at least 2 goals.
Can I ask a question, right? You're probably going to say hell no because I know momentum's everything for you. But knowing you next week's a must-win game, and I didn't even know it was a week turnover. I thought there was a 2-week break, but game week 8 is literally a week from now. Would you rest a few players against Chelsea? Like, no, I'm not even kidding. Like, would you rest a few players knowing that midweek games must win?
No.
I thought that'd be hard.
No, because the problem that we've got is, right, so if we rest players, right, that's a guaranteed L. So Chelsea will go 5 points ahead of us. Newcastle, who's Newcastle playing?
They got Wolves. Southampton, mate.
Right, so that's them winning that game, right? So straight away, we're then out of the Champions League spot, right? Because obviously at the moment, they reckon 5th is going to get Champions League, yeah? So then we'll be 3 points behind them, right? That's all well and good. But then look at our fixtures, bro. Yeah, our fixtures are this.
Man, your fixtures are hellacious, man.
We got Arsenal, which we could lose. So we could be 6 points behind Chelsea and 5 points behind. Then we got Newcastle, which we could lose. We can't afford to rest players in these. We have to go for them in every single game. Then we got Liverpool. Then we got Spurs. Then we got Forest. Then we got Brighton. Bro, Chelsea, low key, be serious. Chelsea's one of the easiest games we've got. And that's still solid.
I would have said Spurs, but historically, that's not.
Well, that's probably it. I know we won
that
that last year, but we was different gravy last year. Like, bro, we can't. If anything, Chelsea's one of the easier games in this run.
But you're about to have a major say in the Champions League spots because you're literally playing everyone involved, apart from Spurs, obviously, playing everyone involved there. If you were to go on a run, you basically hand Liverpool the title.
Yeah, and guarantee yourselves top 4, I think.
I thought I'd want Man City to win most of those, man. That's crazy.
Not even just champion, including the one against you, Pops. I'm joking. But not even just the Champions League, say, even the title race, Wolfie, because they play all 3 of our. I'm chucking you in as well. They play all of our clubs. So City will have a big say. Don't you think it's mad to say City will have a big say in the title race and they're not even involved? It's crazy.
They could drag themselves into it. You know what I'm saying? If they beat all those teams, which they can do, it's not beyond them. I know you're saying your form ain't great and what have you. Yeah, but there's still that aura about City. Yeah.
If we win more than 2 of those games, I'd be surprised.
2? Nah, I think you get 3.
Bro,
he's in the whole humble thing now.
We've won
the
4
FA Cup,
games. We've won 4 games against the top 6 in the last 2 seasons.
Wow.
4. And then people are like, yeah, but if you win all those games, you're going to be back. I'm like, you what? We ain't winning all those games. If we win all those games, we got to do something that we've not done for the last 18 months while we're in shit form.
I think your fans need to just take a leaf from Erling Haaland, man. Stay humble, yeah. Just stay humble.
I've been fucking so
That's all you got to do.
This period, bro. Yeah. Honestly, man, I'm like I said, like for me, this game against Chelsea is massive because I think if we win, I think we'll get a few draws in this run because our actual running, the last 9 games, apart from Villa and United, like we should be winning the majority of them. So for me, if you beat Chelsea on Saturday, right, I think we'll get like a couple of draws against. Maybe we'll get a draw against like Arsenal and Maybe we could go to the Forest and stink it out and get a point there or whatever. And then that'll just keep us in the top 5 race. And then in the last 9 games of the season, I think we'll just win enough to get in the top 4. But if we lose against Chelsea, mate, then we've got Arsenal next week. Because that's the problem. We could lose against Chelsea and then easily lose against Arsenal. And then we're miles off the pace. This is why we're desperate for a midfielder. Desperate for a midfielder, man. Like, bro, I'd just go and put the money down for Belabor, mate. But go and get Belabor from Brighton right now.
I think you can't underestimate what Diaz does for that team. Like, in that really bad run you had when you played us, I hate to bring this game up, it still hurts. But Diaz in there, being back in the defense, was a changer in there.
Facts.
You know, him coming off yesterday, you could argue, had an impact on the game. So it's important you keep him. He's the only one really looking like a proper defender.
He's quality Diaz. I always rated Diaz, but you could see how much levels he is ahead of some of the others, to be fair. I don't mind Ake and Akanji. I just think Kanji last season was one of your best players. But I look at it and I just think, yeah, he needs freshening up, man, big time at City. And those fixtures are absolutely horrendous, man. They are probably the worst fixtures you can get. I didn't realise you'd only won 4 in the top 6 in the last 2 seasons. That's mad.
That's what I mean. This is why it's just like silly to say, oh, we could win all those games, because we're not going to win all those games. We're just not. You know what I mean?
Still
like,
play Nunes right back there.
No. Well, I don't know, because Diaz is
Was
now
he playing right back, was he? Matthias Nunes was playing right back.
Technically,
What?
It's just fucking just a shit show. I don't know how. I don't even know what we do. Bro, I'm just tired of all these
Where's
injuries.
Rico Lewis? Is he injured as well now?
Nah, but he's just not. He's just out of favour now as well.
I mean, it didn't work when he did it against Man United. I don't get why Pep went for that again with Nunes. It just
Well, we didn't really
he's a
have any
good
choice
player,
yesterday.
but-
We could have played
but-
Rico Lewis there, but Rico Lewis is not a particularly good defender at this moment in time either. The problem is we just got none of our players stay fit in defence, so we're constantly chopping and changing all the time. Diaz is the one that we have to have in that back 4. If you speak to most City fans, right? Most City fans in the chat probably agree. If you have Diaz in the back, we're semi-confident that we'll actually like be able to not fuck up a 2-goal lead. Like maybe we might draw the game, but like we're pretty confident with Diaz in the back, we won't concede 4 goals or 3 goals, right? You take him out, I guarantee you every single City fan around the world shits themselves. And that's what happened yesterday at half time. As soon as he went off, I said it on the watch along. Everyone in the chat was saying it. That's us done. Now we found ourselves 2-0 up and we're like, what the hell? But it was mad. You know, it's got to the point now where as soon as City go 2-0 up, City fans are betting on the other team to win the game because they know it's gonna fucking happen. Bro, the amount of people in my chat yesterday was like, yo, bro, I just cashed in, man. Some guy sent me a £5 super chat and said, yo, bro, big up for the shout of PSG winning at 2-0. Here's your cut. I'm like, fucking what's going on here, man? It's that bad. It's honestly crazy, mate.
Why did you do that against us, man? Diaz, I guess.
Bro, the most mad thing in this whole run that we've been on is that somehow we beat Forest 3-0. Like, bro, I don't understand. I need to watch that game again. And go,
We
how
did
the hell-
that. For it, we did that, and like that's one of our most convincing wins. And like since then, like City and Arsenal have not been able to move forward. Who's been your best player this season, LB? by the way?
bro, Jamie Phillips said he made 4K last night.
No way.
Yeah.
Jeez.
At one
Game.
point, PSG was 6-1, and I don't know what point that was because they asked my mate. Yeah, Dylan. Was it you, bro? Was it you done a super chat last night? I think it might have been Dylan. Someone got 8-1 when PSG were 2-0 down because it's cash money, bro. It's cash money. As soon as City go 2-0 up, it's cash money every time, and like it's fucking mad. So at least City fans are getting money off it.
Who's been your best player this season, LB? Real talk.
Well,
The
okay,
fact
so
you have to think is concerning. The fact you have to think is concerning. Normally,
it's mad, bro.
Or
Here's the
maybe
thing,
there's too many to pick from. You never know.
No, it's not that. Okay, so one of the problems that we've got is like on the face of it, Kovacic has looked like he's had a good season because on the ball, and Dan will know about this, he's fucking mint on the ball. I know he fucking got caught for the goal yesterday, but like usually he's like actually mint. But the problem is off the ball is atrociously bad. But because he's so good on the ball, people kind of forget how bad he is off the ball. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say him.
Savinho, maybe.
I
No,
feel like
not
Savinho's
goal.
been
That's
alright.
his
No.
goal.
Vardio.
It'd probably have to be Gavardio. But even he's had some stinkers.
He has had stinkers, but he's actually been like the one
Probably
that you look at.
Gavardio.
So. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. Vardio, to be fair, from what I
Like,
see.
to be honest,
like,
that's pretty bad chat, isn't it, really? Because Gavardio's had quite a few bozos this year.
He had
So
a
the fact
stinker
that he's our
yesterday.
best player is pretty concerning.
Savio's
Ake,
improved, but he ain't been consistent, has he, Savio?
He's not.
I mean,
Savio's
yeah.
not been consistent enough to be.
I think with him, it was that goal.
honest.
He was overdoing it, trying to score until he got his goal, and I think he's been better since his
Yeah, agree.
opening goal.
Agree.
Yeah. Yeah. But before we move on, I'll come to these super chats in a second, guys. Marmoush, boys. How much
Okay.
do you? I know obviously he's not a defender, he's not a DM, but like City have announced the signing this morning, Marmoush. I think it's fucking mad price, £60 million. Which for a guy who's got like 30 GNA already this year, I think that's an unbelievable price, to be honest with you. What are you guys saying about this one, Marmoush?
You're saying it in a good way. When you first said the £60 million, I thought you were saying it's too much. In this day and age, that's a bargain when you look at what some players have gone for. But the things with Marmoush, right? I just want, and you'll know, LB, I want to eradicate this myth because a lot of people say, Pep ruins players. Well, Mahrez, Sane, Savio in recent weeks, you've seen they flourished under Pep, right? But I think they used the big money signing in Jack Grealish to look at him and say, and when he done that interview, I'm told to pass the ball a lot. He doesn't like me holding on to the ball. Everyone kind of has this notion that he ruins players. But one thing I would say is Pep needs to allow him to express himself. I've only watched this player twice, 90 minutes. So I think my opinion should be taken that seriously on him because I've not watched a lot of him. But I would just say from what I've seen, he loves spacing behind, very direct, good finisher. I just think Pep, this kind of ball retention stuff, you might need to just allow him to be himself. But I think this is a great sign. I wanted him at my club. I think we were the first Premier League team to be properly linked with him, obviously because of the Salah connection and whatnot. But I think he'll be good for you, though. As long as Pep kind of gives him the free rein. I'm not even saying all game, but at times, I think he'll be an amazing signing. It's kind of what you need. Some players come in this time of the season and galvanise the squad. Like, I mean, even not to divert, but even if like Acuna goes Forest in these next couple of days, that will galvanise Forest to probably another level as well. So I think January signings are important, but I think he'll do well. As long as he gets given slight freedom, I think he'll do very well at sea.
What are you saying, Elby? Are you saying too much or too little in the price? Because I agree with Rob.
I think it's cheap.
Yeah, he meant it.
You see, let me put that into context for you. We nearly got him in the summer for 25.
Yeah, but for now, I think that would have been an unbelievable signing. For me, I think 60 million quid is cheap.
I mean, for what he is, yes, but has he gone up that much, in 4 or 5 months?
Yeah.
My question.
The start of this season, Wolfie's been unreal.
Bro,
yeah, I know. I've been watching him with pain.
He's already on last
this,
season's tally already. Like he's already.
Look at this. I watched him last weekend, right? Frankfurt versus St. Pauli, right? And by a country mile, he was the best player on the pitch. He scored the only goal of the game, 1-0. I think 60 million quid this day and age. When you consider Arsenal spent 65 million quid on Havertz, and I ain't just saying that to wind up Potsy, like
Højlund, Nunes,
Nunes, bro, like this is an unbelievable price. Like I think it's just a mad deal. So like I think it's mint. People have been saying you don't need him. People have been saying that. I haven't been watching Manchester City, mate, because we are not clinical.
You do need him. He's quality. Play on the left. He can play through the middle. He's a top player. From what I see in the goals he scores, is unreal. I really wanted him. I can't believe that Marmoush and Kvaratskhelia have both gone and Arsenal haven't gone for either of them. I think that's criminal. For me, I think it's a really good signing for City, man. I must say that. And I think he will ball out. And look, it's not like he's got much competition, man. I don't rate Doku. I think that's another Adama Traore. And I think you got like Jack Grealish. We all know there's problems there. You ain't got Nunes. Like you need a left forward. He's going to be that guy, man. Him and Savinho either side of Haaland. I think with Foden in the 10 and De Bruyne, obviously. So I think you have a great attack there. Just got to sort your midfield and defense out, bruv.
I know.
What I would say is for you, because I think you'd have watched him more than I have. In the Premier League, especially against top 6 teams will obviously sit back. Will he be as effective with less spacing behind? Because a lot of the goals I've seen, he's normally running through or taking on a player and scoring. But will he be one of them players that it takes time? Because we're in an age where you play bad your first 2 games. Oh, he's a flop. Look at all this. And it's not that. You have to give some players time. But just you lot's opinion on that. Do you think it might take him a bit of time? Because he won't get as much space in behind as he does in Germany.
I don't think he needs time. I think he's going to hit the ground running. I'm so jealous. I can't even hide it, right? Because he was the one I wanted in the summer. Because not just he can play on the left, he can play up front. He's versatile. His pace, free kick taker as well. Yeah. He's next level. And I'm so jealous, man. And I agree with Potts. for Doku on that left, perfect position. You know, you're saying Traore, I see him more as ASM. He reminds me a lot of Alan Maximus there. Yeah, a lot of, you know, silky skills and then no end product. With Marmoush, you're getting a complete player ready to go. The Premier League, he will thrive in it, and it pains me to say it. And if he scores against Forest, I will cry.
Okay, let me come to some of these super chats, man, and then we'll move it on. Built a Scottish City fan. He says Marmoush going to be playing in the number 10 behind Haaland long term. Apparently, what does that mean for Foden? That's where he's best too. I think Foden's will play right wing. I think he'll play next to Marmoush at times as well. I don't know what it means. We'll have to find out, man, what happens. But I don't think it's a concern. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Foden's good enough. He'll get in the team. If he's not, he'll get dropped. So that's how it should be for everyone in the team. Like, there should be no special treatment for any player. So I don't know on that one. We'll have to wait and see, Scottish City fan. But it's one that's worth watching. Big up Nadir says, this squad is the most unlikable bunch I have seen at my club. What the fuck is Tiki doing? Get a DM. Silva, Gundo, Kovacic, all don't start for PSG. I've seen Yaya, says Nadir. Facts, bro. Yeah, I hear it, man. I hear it, bro. None of those players get in the PSG midfield, which is unreal. Big up to Joe, says, by the way, yeah, PSG, if they can get through this group stage and sort themselves out, they might be a bit of a dark horse, man, for the Champions League, mate. Because that midfield three of Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, and João Neves is top draw, mate. If they can, and Barcola last night was on it as well. If they can get themselves cooking a little bit, they could be a dark horse, man.
And they've added Kvara.
Yeah, and they've added Kvara, yeah. Facts. Honestly, man, I might check the odds for that. Big up to Joe, says, midfield needs to be destroyed. Get them all out, except for Rodri. Get Baleba and younger attacking midfield. Midfielders, is that? Yeah, midfielders. Pep has to give the players more freedom, says Joe. Bro, I'd go and put the money down for Baleba right now if it was me. I think it's well worth it. Big up to King Haaland, who says, guys, first Egyptian, MM7. First Uzbek. Cousinov 45. Yeah, we've never had an Egyptian player. I don't think. Is that what someone was saying? Is that what you're saying? And Uzbek, yeah, the Premier League's never had an Uzbekistan player ever in the Prem, so that's pretty mad. We'll probably get an influx of Uzbekistan fans. Big up to Stop Online Hate, says, hello, thanks for the gifted. Hashtag treble time. KDB, my FPL captain this weekend. Hat-trick incoming. Keep up the great work, LB. What are the odds on the treble, please, bro? You're going to get mad odds. If you really want it, do it, bro, because you're going to get crazy odds. Fair play, bro. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. And as well, big up to Mark for coming in with the 5 gifted. Hopefully you're well, Mark. Big up to you, mate. Thank you very much for the 5. I appreciate it, as always, man. Appreciate it as always. Smash the likes up. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. Listen, I want to touch on Arsenal, mate, and then we'll come to sort of Forest, Liverpool, and Chelsea towards the end. But Arsenal looking decent in that Champions League now. But the pressure's on now, isn't it, Potsy, man? Can you give us an update on the transfer market? What's going on there? Are you signing any players? Are you feeling like you could do something in the Prem, or is it a little too late, man? What's going on with Arsenal at the moment?
I'll do the transfer market first because that will be about 10 seconds. I don't think we're signing anyone because we're bozos and we have shit owners. I love that meme, man. I love that meme. Yeah, I don't think we're selling anyone. I could be wrong.
Big up Nasty, by the way. Right, one time, just quickly, one time I met this guy. I was at an event, right? I was at some like McDonald's event, and they were launching some new fucking food or whatever, right? And we was there. This was like 5 years ago, and there was like a few City players there. Stonesy was there, and fucking Big Nasty comes in, right? And we fucking, I said to my mate, I'm just going outside, right? Just need like a little chill and need some fresh air. Fucking Big Nasty's just there, yeah. He's just fucking just smoking a spliff outside, and he's like, it's just fucking hilarious, man. It's the funniest shit, bro. Like, the guy is the funniest guy, like, and in person, off camera as well. Like, trust me, man, this guy is too funny, you know. Too.
Yeah,
funny.
I think he's hilarious, man.
Bro, did you ever used to watch his Uncle Payne videos?
Yeah.
Bro, his Uncle Payne videos were so, it's like agony aunt, innit? Like, people used to email in or whatever and say, like, like, this is a problem. I've got this problem with my girlfriend, and like, I don't know what to do. And he used the funniest shit. Have you ever got some spare time, man?
I used to watch the £5 Munch. Did you ever watch that?
The £5 Munch. Yeah, I see the £5
quality.
Munch, bro.
LB, he's one of them guys. He doesn't even have to do anything. You just start laughing. You just start laughing.
What's he doing nowadays? Is he doing anything nowadays?
I know you had a TV show. on
I
a
know,
Friday
man.
night.
Like,
But
the guy needs to get back on YouTube and start doing like funny shit again, man, because like he
Yeah.
is too funny. Anyway,
He'd
sorry,
blow
Potsy,
up
man.
on TikTok, wouldn't he? Like,
Yeah, TikTok,
Yeah.
he would absolutely bang on TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he's
too funny.
he's got on a couple of like TV shows and been funny. Like Would I Lie to You? He's hilarious on that as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan, big fan. But yeah, not a big fan of our transfer market at the moment, man. It's been madness. I think we've got more chance of players leaving than being players coming in. No one big, obviously. We'll just get rid of some, clear out some dead wood. There are rumours of Cunha and Sesko. They're the two that we clearly are looking at. Vlahovic deal is not happening from what we understand. Zubamendi is going to be a summer move for us. Nico Williams is the one that Arteta wants, but that's going to be a summer move potentially. Isak doesn't look like that's going to go near, and Gyökeres as well, which are the two that I would prefer. Sesko, look, I mean, 60, 70 million pounds for the summer, they're saying. They're trying to push that forward. Cunha is looking like a player that we would like, 60 million, but it's not just us that are in for him. Forest, Chelsea, Newcastle, and Spurs are also in for him, from what we understand from Sky Sports. So Arsenal need to do something, man. Sterling last night was absolutely embarrassing. I mean, I don't know if we can cancel that loan. It's just embarrassing. It's about as bad as Willian. Real talk. It's that bad. I never rated him anyway, but dear me, I certainly don't rate him now. Jesus, 29, and you'd think he'd have half of a decent right or left foot. He's just awful. It's actually scary to see where it's just like watching a Finnish footballer. Do you know what I mean? So that's how bad he is.
And he's 29. That's the crazy thing. He's still in his peak.
29. Yeah,
I
29.
thought he was
man.
like 32 odd, man.
Yeah,
That's
no,
crazy.
he's 29 and he's dead, mate. It's just finished. It's embarrassing. It's like, yeah, I won't say what I say about him. I'll get kicked off here, but he's dreadful, man. Absolutely dreadful. And we need more. And we got no Saka still, no Jesus. Waneri was a boost last night. He's such a baller, this kid, man. He's ridiculously good, man. For a 17-year-old, wow. Like, he should not be that good at 17. He looks so good, man, and so comfortable. He looks one of the best players. He lights up when he comes on. He needs to start now on the right-hand side while Saka's out. He's the only one that does anything similar to Saka. All of the others are just so different to what Saka does in terms of drive on the ball and the cut inside on his left. Looks like he's going to make something happen. Never say die attitude. Never gives up on the ball. Good tracking back as well. I think he deserves a run in the team now, man. So last night, look, it was convincing, but they're a poor side. I don't know if anyone's played them yet. They are absolutely abysmal. I know they've got Cannavaro, and everyone was talking about how they're going to be hard to break down and stuff, but we looked a little bit sloppy at times at the back, and they had nothing in the final third. It was quite a convincing performance. Havertz got a good goal and assist. Martinelli was really good. In the last 2-3 games, he's really started to pick up his form again now. So I hope that continues. And even Waneri, everyone else was just an all right game. It was pretty kind of average at best in parts of the game. Declan Rice deserves a mention. Last night was excellent, and he has been for the last couple of games. I'm not a fan of him in this attacking 8, but when you play a team as bad as Zagreb, you start to see that he can actually get on the ball and drive forward with it. Like back end of last season, we were beating teams 4s and 5s and 6s. Obviously, that was the Sheffield Uniteds and West Hams and Burnleys of this world and Palaces, and we were flying through them with Declan Rice in the 8. So when you play those, I'm cool with Rice there. But when you're coming up against like a City or a Liverpool team, you don't want to be playing Rice in the 8, in my opinion. Look, Arsenal aren't going to win the Premier League because I've got eyes. You don't have to look at Liverpool. You don't have to look at any other team. You just have to look at Arsenal to know that we ain't quite good enough yet. And I
mean,
appreciate
when you look at that, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, you're 6 points behind. Obviously, they have a game at hand, but their record at Everton apparently is not particularly great. So, like, it is only 2 games. Obviously, you've
That's
got
what I'm
the
saying,
inferior
LB,
goal
like-
difference, but
That's what I'm saying, LB. If I was looking at Arsenal and I was thinking, my God, we look unbelievable. What? We're only 6 points. Let's do it. We're going to win the league. But I don't look at Arsenal and think, wow, we're electric and we're scintillating. I look at Arsenal and I think, are we going to beat Wolves at the weekend? Yeah, should do. It wouldn't surprise me if we draw it. It's set up well for us because we've got Wolves who looked terrible against Chelsea in the second half, in my opinion. I thought the goals they scored were just bizarre, really, for Wolves defensively. They've got problems with Cunha at the moment, it seems. So it'll be interesting to see if he lines up at the weekend against Arsenal. But I will say this, that we've then going to the Champions League now, where it looks like we're pretty much through. We can play the kids, really, against Girona and rest them all for the Man City game. But I've got no faith in the Wolves or Man City games because I don't know what Arsenal are going to turn up. You know, when you're 2-0 up, you should comfortably see out a game. And we threw it away against Villa because that's what we do at the moment. We have got no confidence in the team, no confidence within the fan base. The fans at the Emirates it's been dead. It's not been a good season for fans. I mean, it's been electric atmosphere-wise in the last 2 seasons for obvious reasons. But now it's like just a bit dead. And I think that definitely does affect the players on the pitch. And the last thing I'll say about it, actually, it kind of comes through to transfers, is if we don't do anything and we have no players coming in this transfer window, I think we're just waving the white flag, really, to say we don't.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
bring Roms in here, right? Like, surely you're the same. Surely, if Arsenal don't sign any players, and I'm talking serious ballers here, I'm not talking like Sterlings of this world. Surely you're just thinking, that's it, boys. It's done.
Do you know what? For me, trying to sound the most humble possible, for me, whether Arsenal sign, like you say, good forwards in the next week or two, is the difference whether we win the Prem by 2 or 3 points or 5 and 6. I still think we win it. I just think Arsenal could bring in a Nico Williams or Gyökeres and whatnot, and they will go up levels, of course. But I've said this to a lot of my families. I still don't think we've hit our peak with this team. I still don't think we've got out of first gear as well. And I think the longer the season prevails, obviously, hopefully everyone's staying fit, I think we can go up another level. Arsenal can as well, but so can we. But if they don't sign place LB, for me, it's more than done. I think that me and you spoke a couple of weeks ago, and you said, Ramel, your team will win by the league at a canter. And I said, no, because we will drop points as well. I'm not going to be ignorant. We'll drop points as well. They will. But this is me with the assumption they're going to bring it forward. If they don't, then we can go back to that conversation, LB.
Let me put it like this for you quickly, right? Let's switch it around. Listen to the scenario to you, right? Arsenal can go 9 points clear of you. You've got no Salah, you've got no Van Dijk, and you've got no Gravenberch. Who's winning the league?
That's a silly question. Of course you know.
Arsenal are going to, right? So that's what we're at the moment. So and you're going to buy no one in January. That's the scenario we're at. So people that think Arsenal can win the league, like, let's just be real. We need like a miracle. Forest have got more chance to win a league than Arsenal. Real talk.
Do you know what?
Let me ask you both just a quick question. If the roles were reversed now and you were 6 points ahead, would you be, with the scenario of you got your team as is, same with Liverpool, would you be confident that you could hold that lead? And would you be confident you could catch them, Rums? Just literally flip
the reason why I would be confident is because we've got them at our ground, the third to last game of the season, a ground which they've not won in a league for 12 years. Second, we've got players that have been there and done it. This team, under Arteta, haven't won anything. They don't really have that real winning mentality. We've got a World Cup winner in our squad. We've got a core that have been there and done it, that know what it takes. So I would still be confident. If we were in Arsenal position, they had a game in hand. Let's say roles reverse against our derbies, Everton. Let's say they had a game in hand against Spurs and we are 6 points behind. I think the spirits will get us over the line. It will be tight. It will go to the last day. But I think we'll probably pit them in the game we play them at home. And then we would just about win it, like by a point or two. So I'd still have confidence in my team to win it. I think the only way we derail this season is if we pick up mass injuries, because in most title races, if you see most teams that have won the league, when it comes to injuries, everything's aligned. You've got 1 or 2, but you haven't had key injuries. We've only had a few injuries early in the season, and when we had them, players weren't out for months. They were out for maybe a week or 2 at max. I'd say the biggest injury we've had this season is Konate, and he was out a month, and he's come out and said recently, which I didn't like, but he's rushed his way back into the team, which was a bit of a concern for me. We'll get onto that later, but we haven't really had injuries, and even when we pipped City to the league, correct me if I'm wrong, LB, De Bruyne got injured that year, and I think Laporte might have got injured that year. They were both out for about half the season.
Injuries, but I
think
by December, innit?
Yeah, they were your main two, and not even just our starting 11, our like 14 or 15, even the fringe players that were getting rotated, all of them stayed fit till the end. I think bar Matip, then Gomez came in. So Matip was our main injury that season. But I think when you're going for a league as well, you do need the luck of not getting key injuries, because you've seen with Saka, with Odegaard, with them. But my only argument would be, even with Saka and Odegaard, and Potts will agree, Arsenal were winning, but they still didn't look convincing. So, yeah.
Would
I
you
think
win
we've
it
got more
down there?
chance. We've got more chance of winning the Champions League than the league, real talk. Because you don't have to be the best in Europe to win that. And I don't
But
think
your
we're winning
record's
anything this year.
decent down in the Champions League. You've barely
Yeah,
conceded.
we're looking good in the
You got the
Champions
best
League.
home record.
We were last year, Dan, to be fair. We looked good in the Champions League last year, and then we get the Bayern Munich, and it's like, out you go. This is what happens with
Do you
us
think the
every time.
Champions League suits Havertz more? He looks a bit better in the Champions League, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think against some of the teams we've played, he's looked pretty good. The problem with Havertz is he's fine as a squad player. He's absolutely fine. He'll score your goals. I saw a stat that said he's got to 14 goals quicker, 22 games quicker than he did last season. So he's got to that period. Well, he's playing up front now. Last
Yeah, I
season he
was
was
gonna
playing
say
in
that, yeah.
midfield. Do you know what I mean? So that's why. Look, I've got to be real. I think we've got more chance of winning the Champions League, and I don't think we're going to win that. So that tells you how much I don't think we're going to win the Premier League, right? To answer Wolfie's question, I still think we'd potentially bottle it because we've got a manager who seems to be quite good at that, right? So if it was the roles reversing, I still wouldn't have confidence that we would get across the line. But I will say this, that I do think that the way we're playing with everybody fit, I think we've got a better chance in the competition of being more of a cup team than a Premier League team.
I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Will it get to that stage where you just write off the league and focus on the Champions League? Do you think, or
Do you know what? I would not do that unless it got to like the 9 to 12. But I think if it gets double figures, you might have to do that then.
When it gets to double
Now,
figures, I think, then just focus on the Champions League, in my opinion. But listen, I want to come to Wolfie, right? Because your club is moving mad. Every time I log on to Twitter, I'm seeing Alex Baena, Matheus Cunha, Johan Visser. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? Seriously, like, fucking, why is Forest moving like a team at the top that, like, when you look at Arsenal, who should be moving like this, they're not, and Forest are moving mad. It's crazy.
Murillo signed extension as well. That's massive.
yeah, huge signing for us this window. And the answer to that question is simple: as our owner, Marinakis. I think he's the best owner in the league because he actually cares about the club. He's invested in the club. He's written off over 100 million in debts in the last week into shares. And he just wants Forest to be back where they were when we got those 2 stars back in the day. And that's what I love about him. He's ambitious. He's already done it with Olympiacos. He's focusing on Forest and he wants what's best for us. Now, in terms of these names that are being linked, outside of Visser, I would say it's a lot of paper talk. Like, don't get me wrong. We get Cunha, I will get delusional and be like, yeah, we can catch Liverpool. I think he is that good of a player and he is that big of a game changer. But what I'm hearing from people I'm talking to is it's all paper talk. But I don't care, man. It's enough to get me excited because, like, 2 years ago, we were getting fucking Jesse Lingard, at Forest, washed up crap. And now we're talking about proper serious players. And just the fact that we were linked with Marmoush in the summer, getting him for 25 million, and Jimenez, Santiago Jimenez, it shows you what our recruitment and scouting team are doing, that they're identifying those players early on. Granted, neither of them wanted to come because they didn't want to be in a relegation battle, according to Jimenez. But you're seeing what our recruitment is doing and how they're targeting it. And Forest is serious. I see Forest, Newcastle, and Villa as the disruptors right now. Is it sustainable? We will have to wait and see. But these 3 teams are starting to shake that, that Big 6 label now, and start to move things around. And with Marinakis, he has the money. He will pump as much money as is needed, but we're obviously getting held by PSR, FFP, and all that stuff.
Yeah, but he doesn't give a fuck about that, does he?
He doesn't. And I've said this to, the Newcastle content creators. I was like, with all your money, why the fuck didn't you just bust PSR? Yeah, right off last season. You'd ended up not getting Europe anyway. Break it. Take a couple of points deductions, but you'd have brought the players in. Stick 2 fingers up.
That's what I'm saying to this thing now. I'm literally, I think Forest are showing teams that, like, if you're having a bad season and you're not at risk at getting relegated, fuck it. Take the 6 point. Take it, even if it's a 10-point deduction, mate. Take it and get the players in, because getting the players in is the most important thing. And listen, this is what Chelsea have done, by the way, as well. Now they managed to get around it because they got these mad accountants who found out that you could start selling fucking the women's club and the hotels. But, like, they was fully prepared, right? They were fully prepared, Chelsea, to go down the same route as Forest and just be like, listen, if we get a point deduction for 1 season, it's 1 season. But now they have pretty much a squad that can challenge for stuff. Obviously, they still need a bit more, and so do
Yeah.
Forest. But I think you two, have shown the league that, like, unless they're going to get serious with these points deductions and get it to like 20, 30, 40, where, listen, you have a bit of a bad season, you could get relegated. 6 points. Fuck the 6 points. Just buy the players.
We ended up
LB.
with 4.
You've been saying it. You've been saying it for months now. And if you do kind of just break PSR, it could be worth it, because if you get the players in, then you win one of the domestic cups, or if you're in Champions League, win the Champions League because you brought in that quality. It was worth it. Like, did you really lose out maybe a couple of points?
Exactly.
Like LB said, unless it gets severe, like they're taking 20, 30 points, and that's literally could put you in like a relegation battle or whatnot. Then obviously you're going to adhere to the rules. But yeah,
So,
if you
Ron,
can, like,
realistically, what's the difference between 9th and 17th these days, apart from your prize
Exactly.
money at the end of
Exactly.
the season?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's nothing in it. And that's why, like, I love what Marinakis is doing. And I'm still not going to say, we're not in a title race, because I still think we are. Now, being in a title race doesn't
No,
mean
you
you're going to win it. Last season, Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal were in a title race. Not all 3 of them won it. And I look at it and I think, we haven't got European football this season. Liverpool, your fixture list is going to get congested. If you go through in the Champions League, you've got the playoffs to contend with. Chelsea, I know you're doing a B squad in the Conference League, but you still got cups and stuff. So it's going to get congested, whereas we've only got Premier League and the odd FA Cup game, and it's against Exeter. So we'll put a B squad out for that. So I think Forest will end up being potentially one of the freshest teams in there. The points gap is big to Liverpool. And at some point, another team needs to step up and take points off them, man. Like, we're carrying the whole weight of the Premier League on our shoulders here, still being the only ones to beat them. You know what I'm saying? So someone's got to step up and help us, because I'm getting so many messages from United fans, City fans and everything saying we're Forest until the end of the season. Well, get your boys to step up and take some points off them.
We're trying, Wolfie. We're trying, bro. We're trying, man.
I don't know if we'll be here next season. You know what I'm saying? It's like, while you're here, go for it.
Yeah, no, what it is for me is, like, I think my sort of saying is, right, you're in a title race until you're not in a title race.
Exactly.
Right? And I've said that all the time. So I think Liverpool, Arsenal, and Forest are still in the title race. Now, people will say, oh, Chelsea already. I just think Chelsea are a little bit too far back, and City have miles gone, right? So you can do it, but like it's a madness. You definitely need to strengthen your squad, and I think you need a big player to come in and give you that boost to say we can get over the line. But it's going to be a tough ask.
Wolfie as well, right? One thing you didn't mention, which is different. Us and Arsenal don't have this. You can play with the shackles off. There's no pressure, because if you don't win the league, it's like, cool. Yeah. What's the saying? Shoot for the stars and land on the moon. If you go to the league, you'll probably end up finishing in a Champions League spot, which is great for you lot anyway. Us and Arsenal, there is pressure to win this league. Both clubs have to win the league, or objective to win the league. It's not just to finish top 4. So that could play into your hands as well. What I would say though is the last 10. Look, if you can mathematically win the league still with the last 10, it's a pressure that Arsenal and Liverpool might be able to deal with a bit more. As much as I feel like the next 7 or 8 games, I think you could possibly fly it. Like, I think you'll play with the shackles off. But when you start getting the media speaking about you, and Forest can now win it, and that, how will the players deal with that pressure? That's
when it gets serious, the business. And I agree with you. I agree with you. And you bang on. Look, if Forest finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th, even down to 7th, every Forest fan would say that's been a successsul season. We've got European 100%. Football. So the pressures are completely different. Even with Newcastle, I think they have more pressure on them because, they've had Champions League a year or so ago. They need to try and get in that top 4. So we're playing, you bang on, Rubs, we're playing with no pressure. The squad unity is like I've never seen before, all bought into what Nuno's doing. And, long may it continue, bro. And I'm here for the ride, because I ain't seen this since the Frank Clark days. And that team, I still think, was a better team than we got now, with Collymore, Roy, Wone, Stones, etc. And what he's done with this squad is just unreal. It really is.
It is a top squad. I still think that, like, and it's only because this is how it usually goes. Doesn't mean that you can't not do this, but I still think that, like, when it starts to get serious, which I think will be in about 4 or 5 games, and the media start to seriously ramp up the talk of, yo, could Forest actually do this? That's when I'm like, are they going to be able to stick in there? Slightly different situation, but I always come back to, West Ham a few years ago when they was in
Yeah.
the top 4 until like February, and then all of a sudden everyone was like, "Yo, West Ham, are they going to get top 4?" And they just fell, didn't they? They just fell off a cliff, and I think they ended up finishing like 7th or something, and I think that's why they got in the Conference League. And like, I'm
I
not
hope
saying
they
that
do it. Don't get me wrong. I hope they do it.
I hope they fucking win the league. I'll be
Yeah,
real with
so
you.
do I.
Yeah.
If Arsenal don't win it, I want to, which I don't think we
It's
will.
just
I
can
want
they
Forest
handle
to
that
league, but
pressure? I think
don't
go and get that Cunha, man. You were to go
Yeah,
and
I
get
think
him.
an
Mate,
extra
he would
striker
change
needed or
everything. He
something,
would.
yeah.
He's just on levels. Look what he's doing at Wolves, and they're in a relegation battle. You know, I'd love him there, but I can't get overexcited because I'm hearing it's all agent talk, paper talk, and what have you. I think he's probably going to stay at Wolves. You know,
Have
You
you
know
put
what,
any bids in for anybody, like actual
Vissa,
official bids?
Vissa.
Just Vissa.
Yeah, we put
Has the one
22.
you gone?
No, he's still
Could
there,
you put
but
up their
he's
running?
coming back off an injury. He's linked with West Ham.
Yeah, I saw that.
Could
Mm.
you put up Forest running? That I actually want to see it. I've not checked your running all
Our
season, but I
last
actually want to see
running,
it.
our end running is decent. I think we got Chelsea last day of the season, if I remember rightly. We got a tough set of 6 fixtures coming as well. Not as bad as Man City's, but it's pretty
the running's
tough.
not horrendous.
Not
Yeah, the
too
running's
bad.
decent.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
Most of these teams will be at the beach by the time you
yeah.
play.
Just don't scroll up,
Bro,
man.
if you actually look at these, fixtures, they're not that bad, are they?
Nah.
Like, let's be honest, right? If you're serious about this league, you'll win your next 4 games.
Well, Bournemouth's our bogey team.
Ooh,
I know,
Bournemouth.
but you've got to win this
Yeah.
league. You've got to win those next.
You
If
gotta
you
win
win
them,
those next 4 games, I'd imagine that maybe you could close the gap on Liverpool.
It's the next one. If you
points.
scroll down that Newcastle, I've got Newcastle, City, and Arsenal. I think off the top of my head. Yeah, that's
but
where
the
it
thing
gets
is, though,
serious.
so for me, if I was a Forest fan now, if I was the Forest manager, I'm saying, right, forget those games. Let's win our next 4, because if we don't win our next 4, we're out of the title race.
Yeah.
And then these games become a little bit like, just get a couple draws and just secure top 4. Go and win those next 4 games against Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, and Fulham. And if you win that, then wow, what a 3-game run that is then, because that's like, we need to win these games for the title. Like, for me, these next 4 games.
Did you not play Southampton?
Yeah, we beat Southampton. Yeah,
Yeah, so you
3-2.
got Bournemouth,
We
Brighton.
got Bournemouth
Leicester,
next.
Fulham.
To me, that's the big one. If we can beat Bournemouth, we ain't beaten them since like 2015. It depends, with the weather and the wind and their roof, if the game even goes ahead, because they've cancelled on us before for that. But we beat them. I'm looking at Brighton. We usually do well against Brighton at home. Fulham, tough match. It's those 3 fixtures after it.
You'll
If
beat
we're
us.
still
You'll beat
in there,
Arsenal. You always beat Arsenal at City Ground. You'll beat
the
us.
City Ground,
Yeah, you got St James Park is the one that's tough. Craven Cottage.
we beat
they're
them last
easy,
season 3-1 at St James's, but different
Well,
times.
Bournemouth have just battered them. So,
Roms, who are your next 4? Who are your next 4 Premier League fixtures, Roms?
Next 4 is Ipswich at Anfield. Again, we should win.
Yeah.
Then it's Bournemouth away,
Mhm.
which will be tough. Everton away, and
But
then
you got a bad record there, haven't it? You've only won 1 in
Yeah.
7, apparently.
yeah, a lot have been draws. The thing is, we've not won there, but we've not lost it. It's just draws. And
All right, let's say you draw that game then, and then who's your 4th game after Everton?
Wolves at home.
So you'll win that. So if you win those 4 games, Wolfie, and Roms, you win 3 and then draw 1. What is it now? 6 points? So would that
Yeah.
be 4 points? Would it be 4? Because you could close the gap to 4
they'll drop
points.
2.
Yeah, be 4 points.
I think if Forest were going to win the league, we had to hold out against Liverpool. That bloody corner, man, it still haunts me with Jota.
And you've been one of the better teams at defending them. I remember the metric for the game.
Yeah.
You hardly concede from set pieces.
That was one of our first set pieces we've conceded all season to the shortest guy on the pitch. I was looking at that game saying that brings it down to 3 points. We're talking serious now, you know what I'm saying? And it was just, if you hadn't got those late goals against Brentford, it would have been crazy tight right now. Would have been, a point behind you? So it's all if, buts, and maybes, but there's still twists here. If we're still having this conversation in 6 weeks' time, then I'm going to go from deluded to serious.
I've said, right, obviously this is just my prediction, but LB's going to last, especially after last night. But I think the next time we drop points I think we win our next 4. It will be tough. Same thing I said against Brentford. Everyone's like, they've only lost twice at home. They'll get something off you. And I'm like, we'll win ugly. And we did. I just think next week again, we'll win ugly against, like Pot said about Arsenal midweek against Girona to play the kids. We've qualified now. We'll probably rotate, maybe make 5 or 6 changes. We've got PSV away, which will be tough. because I think they still need a point to qualify for the playoffs. But I think we're going to rest players for Bournemouth away because it'll be tough. But I think we win that ugly. I think we beat Ipswich this weekend. Everton, I think we win. That's probably going to be the toughest. The last ever derby at Goodison. That will probably be the toughest out of the 4, in my opinion. Even though they're probably the worst team out of the 4, but they'll be the toughest in terms of the occasion. But I think we win that ugly. And then I think Wolves, we take care of business at Anfield again. Things with my club, I don't think we'll win games in fashion. You've seen Jason Conley come out and say we're boring. I don't mind that. As long as we're winning games, I don't care if we're boring. And they do
that on purpose. They've done it to City over the years, mate. It's like
boring's a compliment. Boring's a compliment because it shows you're very regimented.
It's trash talk, which people say. Yeah, they've said it about City for years, and like it's to trigger people. It's like, bro, we've won the last 4 Prems, we've won a treble, and people say, oh yeah, but it's boring. They do it on purpose just to wind people up, man. That's
I think that Bournemouth match, Rums, because I remember a couple of seasons ago, I think the first one we came back up, you went away there, lost 1-0. Salah missed a penalty late on, didn't he? It's a tight ground, man. It's a tight ground. And
those grounds,
they don't get enough credit for what they're doing this season. Iriola is one. I don't like Bournemouth, but even I can respect what he's doing and those players coming through. So I'm worried about this weekend. And then I'll be backing them the following weekend. So,
all right, well, let me come to these chats, and then we'll finish off on Chelsea, man, before we wrap up. Big up to Steph, says, to add what Wolfie is saying, we also have a true culture that is all about the squad, not just the top 11, says Steph. So, like, but keep on improving the squad, innit? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Buy players to keep on improving that. And I think if you get like that one big player in this January window, like Acuna, I just think that's going to it's a statement, and like surely that your players are going to be looking around and saying, "Yo, we can fucking do this."
Yeah.
Well, I reckon some of them are probably looking at each other, going, "Bit mad, this, isn't it? Like fucking hell, we're second." But like, I think if you get Cunha, you get like another one. Like, I think they'll be like, "Yo, we got to fucking be serious now."
Yeah. We mean business. Yeah, at the moment, like from what I hear, it's so relaxed in there. They're just enjoying life. And it's how they're going to react when it gets serious.
But the pressure will start at some point.
Yeah, 100%.
They're all chilling now and enjoying that. At some point, the pressure is going to get serious. And that's when I think you need that big signing to be like, yo, come on, we can do this.
Doesn't it just annoy you? Even on top of the league, I want additions. But hearing Wolfie talk, knowing that they're going to get someone over the line before the window shut, and we're just here scratching our it's crazy. It's actually crazy.
I've got to be real. I agree with everything Wolfie said about the ownership. I'm not a fan of Marinakis in terms of it personally. I think he's a bit of a nutter. But I think if you look at the actual what he's trying to do with Nottingham Forest, you can't sit there and say he's done a bad job. He's actually shown ambition and he's actually backing the club to go to the next level. And some of the stuff he's done is laughable, but he's been at least trying it. You know, I've never known anyone to get 35 players in a window, but look at where he's put them. You know, he's sacked Cooper. He's taken them to the next level. He's got Nuno in, who was always a good manager, let's face it. And then you get the system right, it's good. And I actually look at Nottingham Forest as a squad, and I think they've actually got some players they can bring on. It's not like they've got 11 players and that's it.
Yeah.
You look at Taiwo Awoniyi, we've spoken about. They're looking at getting in Visser and Cunha and players like that. Alex Bayena's another name. It would be unbelievable if they was to get him. You've got James Ward-Prowse, who's still in around the place. You've obviously got some defence as well. It's crazy what they've actually got in terms of a squad. They've probably got 15, 16 players for us. If they're going to add to that, then fair play. But Roms, to answer your question, mate, our owners aren't serious. That's what it is. And I know that Liverpool are in a better position, but you've got an ownership that aren't serious, because otherwise Liverpool would have dominated and won a lot more. And Arsenal would have actually won a Premier League by now in 20 years. So honestly, like I like what I'm seeing with Forest, man. I always like Forest at a club. I thought they were going to struggle this season. You know, me and Jamie Carragher thought they were going down.
I had you in the bottom 3.
You know? I had him in the bottom 3. Yeah, and I thought they were going to struggle. But
I had us 8th, and I got pelters from the Forest fan base saying you deluded twat. You know, it's like, look at us now. It's crazy.
You could see it, man. You could see it. I think you're in the top 6, man. At the bare minimum, I think you're in the top 6. I really do. Really do.
Credit to you, Wolfie, because me and you, for our first ever stream on Savage channel years ago, and everyone was like, well, how can you want Cooper out? And you're like, look, I can see this. He needs to go. And he said, the minute he goes, we'll start to improve as a club. And you were bang on. And that was a year ago.
I got for that, man, for Cooper out. And now people don't send apologies. The abuse just lessens. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy, man. That's how the game works, isn't it? Big up to Steph. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Big up to Comical Ali as well. Says Marmoush, very, very frightening. That's the new tune. I think that's going to be flying around there. Big up Comical Ali, bro. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Marmoush. Big up to you, bro. All right, and Dan Chelsea. We'll finish off with Chelsea, man, before we wrap up. You got a win. You ended the streak, which is good for you. You're back in the top 4. At one point, I thought, Wolves going to do a madness here. I'm City going to be in the top 4, but they couldn't hold on, unfortunately. Yeah, man. What you saying about Chelsea and your top 4 hopes, bro? And obviously, this Saturday's game, huge, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually think Sunday will be 5th again, or further down. I don't think we win it. I think we looked all right against Wolves, but I don't think we look fantastic. I don't want to do too much off the back of that. I'm really sort of confused with where Chelsea are at. I thought we'd have players in by now that were good enough, and the fact that we've only recalled Trevor Chalobah is a little bit concerning for me, because we've obviously Vega's going to go. I still think defensively we're leaving ourselves a little bit short. Midfield wise, I'm still not sold on Casado went down injured against Wolves Monday night, and I was thinking, if he goes off injured, Enzo's injured, Lavy is injured, we're going to have Dewsbury Hall and one other. Like I genuinely think the midfield is a little bit short right now, but. Yeah, I don't know. Jackson literally couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo at the moment. Like, we're a little bit all over the place. I just don't know what Chelsea's going to turn up like from the next game to the next game. I honestly don't know.
I think I don't know about this game on Saturday, man. Like I don't know how it's going to go. Yeah, City are at home. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Yeah. I think because it's at Etihad, I think you're favourites heavily because of that reason.
I'll be a draw, man.
Yeah,
be a draw, won't it? Be a
No,
draw, man.
I thought last season we obviously went there and got a draw, but Poch was willing to sacrifice how the team played to go and get try and get a result. Not that Poch was brilliant in that sense, but he was willing to do that. Maresca won't change in the way that he plays, and we saw at the beginning of the season, albeit that was probably a different City side that day. I just think City are a level above Chelsea, no matter what point they are in their season. The point where you would have wanted to play City is now passed for this Chelsea team.
It all depends on Diaz for me. I think if Diaz is in the team, I think we win the game. If he's not in the team, I think we lose the game.
But Dan, I'll disagree. I know you're saying the time you'd want to play City has passed, but if look, there's that old-fashioned saying, you're only as good as your last game. If you go off the last game against PSG, right, and the confidence is going to be a bit low in the City camp, I can see this being goals. Wasn't it 4-4 at the Bridge last year? I can see it being a similar game. I think it'll be a 3-3.
It was only 1-1. It was only 1-1 at the Etihad.
Fair. And that was the second game,
Chelsea should have held on. Fucking Pochettino fucked it with the subs.
He did. He actually bought on Chalobah and completely went negative, and then the game just got away from us. But Disasi was unreal that night. I was livid, mate. I remember being stood outside the Etihad, like chucking it down with rain, and I was just ripping into Poch, mate. I was fuming.
I think there's minimum 5 goals in this game. I think this will be end-to-end, some basketball stuff. I think both teams will just go for it.
It all depends on Diaz for me. I'll tell you that if Ruben Diaz is playing for City, I think we win the game. If he doesn't play, I think we lose
What's
the game.
the likelihood, LB? Like, is he holding an injury or something right now?
Well, he went off at halftime. Pep Guardiola said after the game, he said that basically, Diaz said he can't continue, he needs to come off. So we don't know what, but he's only just come back from a hamstring injury. So if it's a reoccurrence of the hamstring, he'll be out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. See, my biggest concern with Chelsea right now is obviously against Wolves, we managed to score 3 goals, but arguably all 3 of those chances came off the back of our defenders. Like Chalobah obviously got his goal nicked off the line from Madueke. So Madueke claimed that one. Tosin obviously scored, and I think who was our other goal? I've just drawn a blank, but it was another defender. Who played?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Oh, Cucurella, sorry. Cucurella scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I just think that's risky that you can go into a game against Manchester City. You're relying on your defenders to step up in a game against Wolves. Jackson's nowhere to be seen. There's no sign of another attacker arriving at the Bridge. We're being linked with like kids left, right, and centre again. I think the board should have been bringing in someone to at least try and cement our position into the top 4. But look, don't get me wrong. It's good that there are players stepping up in a moment when they're needed to if your strikers and your attackers aren't scoring. But at the same time, you can't rely on that against a Manchester City or the better teams. Wolves are one of the worst teams in the Premier League this season.
Facts. I don't know,
I
man.
think-
I just so scarred by our defense and our midfield that I just have no idea. But if Diaz is there, I have some faith that we'll do it.
Yeah, but the thing with Chelsea against Wolves for me was in that 5-10 minute period before the end of the half, you could feel that Wolves were going to score. You know, they kept getting corners, that momentum was building up. And that's against Wolves, who I like Wolves, but they're not exactly.
Chelsea can't
pulling
keep
up
clean
trees.
sheets. Like our defense
Yeah,
this
the
season's been
pressure was
woeful.
there. And I just feel if a City team gets on top of you and puts sustained pressure on at the weekend, you will crack. And the other thing I would worry about as a Chelsea fan is his substitutions. I think in most of the games they've been seriously late or very light impact on what's happened on the pitch, and I think that's a gripe the Leicester fans had against him as well last season. So in terms of that in-game management, it's not quite there for me in what he's doing. I don't know if you see it as an insider that way, Dan, but it's kind of
I do. Do you know what? For a while, I think everyone was sort of very dismissive of what the Leicester fans said because we just weren't seeing it. But as the running got a little bit tougher and the rotation was needed, it's just not been there. Like he looks to his bench and it's almost as if he doesn't trust any of them to make an impact. And in terms of the in-game management, there are times when it's been, I mean, really lacking to make any impact on the game. Like you said, like his changes have been a real light impact. He's so unwilling to step away from his methodology that is actually hindering, I think, Chelsea's performances at times. He's so reliant on inverting his fullbacks that 90% of the games we play in, I actually think it causes him more problems than it does benefit the team. Yeah. I'm not sold on Maresca. I'm not going to write him off just yet because I've also seen him do very well at the beginning of this season. But I just think Chelsea are finding themselves in a spot of bother with a few things going wrong at the same time that all sort of led to that rut. Look, we've done well to get a win because it doesn't really matter how you get that win to get out of a rut. You've just got to get it. But also at the same time, to get out of it one game before going to play City at the Etihad is just, I mean, how's that for timing? Our running's a little bit tricky as well. We got West Ham. I think we got Brighton. We got Brighton in the FA Cup, so we could have a tough game there. And then I think we've got Villa. So as a running goes as well, it's not exactly like plain sailing for Chelsea. There's a couple of tough games in there, and with teams in and around where we are as well. So I would be interested to see where Chelsea are come the end of February, because I think then we're going to have a real discussion about whether or not we can make it into the top four and how reliant are we going to be on ourselves to actually go and win the Conference League to make sure we've got a chance of getting Champions League football.
Yeah, Roms, what are you saying? How do you see this game going on Saturday, man?
It's a weird one. I agree with you. Wait, Diaz injury, is it serious or do you reckon he should
we don't know.
I suppose you'll know more in the press conference probably tomorrow. Yeah. But you know what, LB, if you do have Diaz, I'll go with a slim win. But I think if you don't, this has a draw written all over it. But even with a Diaz, I just think. Wait, Caicedo's fit, you said, Dan. I know he went down, but
yeah, I think so. Like we obviously don't know to what level, but
will Enzo and Lavia be back either or? Chelsea still could hurt you through them central areas, especially with a palm and whatnot. I just feel it will be a tight game. I don't think it will be a game where one's clearly better than the other, with or without Diaz. But I think you're right, LB. Diaz is a big game changer. I think that's the difference whether you get a point or three. One thing I will say, I don't think City lose this game. It will either be a City win or it will be a draw. I think the home advantage, you need a reaction from midweek, let's be honest. Like Pep, you can't have another lackluster game how you ended that second half. But I don't know. I just think, like Dan was saying, inverting the fullback. I mean, obviously, by the way, I have to give Reece James a special mention. I think he was class against Wolves. He had Cunha in his pocket. Whenever Cunha was about to turn on the half turn, he was just there. And I think James does put Chelsea to that extra level. But I don't know. I can just see there being a lot of goals in this game.
The problem I have with a draw is I think for City, less so for us, I think a point is really a bad point.
Yeah. I think
a
draw and a point for both teams is awful, I think. Like in the sense of going to the Etihad and getting a point, it's a good point. But in terms of where Chelsea are at, like we need to be winning games. We've dropped so many points, lost so many games, drawn so many. We need to be picking it back up again.
But
Unless they
the
lost
reason I
something,
say it's a
lost
bad
or-
point is, if we get a point, right, and Newcastle and Bournemouth both win, right, who are Bournemouth playing?
Don't say that, man. They got
Oh.
us.
Oh yeah, so maybe they won't win, but like Newcastle will probably win their game because they're just fucking on fire at the moment. I know they struggled against Bournemouth, but like, bro, we could be 7th, right, by the end of the weekend, right? Maybe 8th if Villa. Oh no, because goal difference. So we could be 7th. Next game is Arsenal away, and then the game after that's Newcastle. So this is why I'm looking at this Chelsea game. I think this Chelsea game for City is a must-win game. I think if we drop points, I think top 4, we could be like.
Have you
11th, bro.
Do you
have
know
you got
what,
any
Dan?
of your new signings coming straight in?
They'll be
I think one of them,
registered.
yeah, they're registered. I think one of the defenders will have to play. We
Right.
don't have any fucking players.
I reckon Marmoush will probably come off the back because they have to be registered by midday tomorrow, and they've all
Right,
3
yeah.
signed. So
They're all signed. Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
available to
Well,
play. But
Marmoush
like,
can play.
I think
I
Marmoush
think he
might
comes
play.
on.
I
think
start
Marmoush
him.
might
I
play.
would start him.
I'd start him as well, and I think
I
either
would.
Victor Hayes or Cousinov will probably start, especially if Diaz is injured.
LB, do you know why this game's interesting, right? Because if you look at where you can hurt City, it's through the middle. Age in midfield, you concede a lot of chances. And with the personnel Chelsea have, I think Pedro Neto's been in a bad run of form. I think most of your fans will agree. He looks a shadow of himself right now. Probably needs a goal or whatnot to pick his confidence back up.
He's only got one, or maybe two. I think one though.
Say that again.
I think he's only got one goal.
The whole season?
Maybe two. Maybe two.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
I think, Rams, it's a bit like what you said earlier of Marmoush. With Neto at Wolves, he had grass to run into because he's lightning fast.
But Wolfie, this comes on to my point. City give you that space in behind. So I think
he's got 3 ROMs in all comps in 25 games.
That's not the greatest.
He's not a goal scorer though. Like we didn't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think he never has. His record is like 1 in 10.
And do you know what, Dan? This is where I've got a soft spot for Grealish. I hate when people's like, "Oh, he's not getting GA. He's never been that player even at Villa." So you're right. That was a bit disingenuous from me. But the reason why I say this is this game's tailor made actually for Chelsea. Your Nonnies, your Netos to play on that count, or you have space behind. But the caveat is, and Dan will agree, Chelsea's forwards in the last 4 or 5 games have not been at the races. So it's like this is the best game for them to get their confidence back, maybe get a few goals. But it's like if you get the chances, are you going to finish your dinner? Because Jackson started the season very well. Everyone was waxing lyrical about him. Now he's missing the chances he was missing last year. So he needs to pick himself back up.
He had a purple patch for me. I still don't.
Do you reckon, Wolfie?
For me,
I
see him as a winger. I think he'd be more effective as a winger.
Man. I don't think this guy has the dribbling ability to be a winger. Like sometimes it's okay, and sometimes he cannot control the ball. I just don't know what he is.
Do you know what is with him, Dan? He'll never be your main man. I think he's good in a pair.
Yeah.
I think, the era of 4-4-2 of the support striker and the actual number 9. He will cater to that era a bit more, but he can't do it by himself. And I even said this in his good goal scoring run. I still said he can't fire you to the league or that's your ceiling's top 4 with Jackson being your main man. But I just think, this is what I mean. Like I just think in this, I will say now he'll probably get about 2 or 3 1-on-1s. Jackson will actually get a few 1-on-1s in this game. It just depends if he takes them.
His lines. I just think, I just look at your team. I think, where's the number 9? How have you bought all these players and not focused on a number 9? It's crazy. It's like the whole Arsenal scenario.
We've spent 37 million on one player that could be considered an out-and-out 9, and even then people are still questioning. And that's Jackson. Like Nkunku's not considered an out-and-out 9. Like it's just crazy.
Dan, I've just read as well. I think Viega's gone Juve with an option to buy. And I've seen
option, which is just crazy. Like go and play as a centre back for 6 months, and then they can literally give you back as well. Like I just think it's a crazy. And why bring him in?
Lazio want Cassidy for 8 to 10 million.
I don't know if he's gone Torino or Lazio. We're being linked today with a guy from Hellas Verona. Our transfers in terms of incomings are, I mean, they're lackluster. Like obviously Garnacho is a name that's been being thrown around a little bit, but that does not excite me at all.
Do you think you'll sign him? Because if I go through the original top 6, right? I don't even know why I call it top 6, top 5. But you've heard that Ange come out and say, which I think is ludicrous, saying I don't think anyone's going to come into the club. So that's first to the side. Me and Potts have both agreed our clubs won't bring in anyone. City obviously have brought in 3 players and will probably bring in another LB said, probably bringing Douglas Luiz and another one to come with him. So that will bring their incomings to 5, which I just think is brilliant. In terms of ambition, it shows you want to improve your team. But do you think you lot will? Because I never put it past Chelsea. But
no, me neither. And I think that's why, Roms. Like, I don't know who, and it could just literally be a 20-year-old kid that no one really knows about. But I just think there will be an incoming for Chelsea before the end of the day. I just don't know who it will be. And I don't know what position either. And I think you could make a case for pretty much any position in Chelsea in terms of the spine. They could bring someone in and you'd have a fair case for it, because I think midfield was short now because of injuries. Striker, we're obviously all having the same conversation. I mean, people are talking about Garnacho coming in on the left wing, so potentially we need a winger because Mudryk is now probably going to be banned. He's obviously apparently hired Pogba's lawyer. Defensively, we're short there. We're letting Vega go as well, who's a versatile option for us. And then goalkeeper-wise, I mean, I'm fed up talking about Sanchez because I know it's just the same story every week, but he will literally give teams a chance to get back into a game or into a game.
I said a couple of months ago that I think he's the worst goalkeeper in the league.
No, honestly, right? I saw a TikTok the other day, and some guy was like, "Look, a lot of people are talking about how bad Sanchez is and all this. I'm going to throw you back to when he was playing in League One and he shipped 6 when he was playing for like Rochdale or something. And then on SofaScore, he's got a 3.4 rating, and apparently he's abysmal. It's like this guy was like, how has he ever made it to the Prem and now playing like for Chelsea? It's just crazy.
Who's worse, him or Onana?
I think Sanchez.
Him by miles.
I think Sanchez. I think Sanchez could be the worst.
Sanchez is not Prem quality for any team, Wolfie.
I agree.
It's just not.
I agree.
And by the way,
between him and
keepers, why don't you just use one of those 8, man?
Honestly, you're like, obviously we've got Jorgensen. I don't know where the board or the managers see him at in terms of level, but I don't see how he can be any worse than Sanchez. I just don't.
Well, can you not recall Kepa back? You recalled Trev from.
Look, I said at the beginning of the season, I still think Kepa is the best keeper on Chelsea's books, and I got laughed at. But now, I actually think that's with you seen how he's been at Bournemouth this season. I actually think it would be fair to say that he is. I just think that shows how bad the situation is, though, with Chelsea and the keepers. Honestly, I don't know. We've recalled about 4 keepers back from loan spells, but I don't know if that's just to free up other options for other loanees to go out.
Do you know what, Dan, right? Big up HA, because HA said it in the chat. Could you see yourself breaking the bank for the lap from Ipswich? Because, look, they're not going to want to sell him being in a relegation battle. Fair enough. Because
we got a buyback clause on him as well, so we might have to buy him and then just do a deal with Chelsea, innit?
Fair. Because I see today that yesterday, and they've gotten Ciso from Brighton on loan, which I think is a very shrewd move.
I don't know. He's been a bit poor like the last.
No, but I think he needs that new lease of life because since he's come back from injury, if you remember last season, he got the injury. The season before, he was starting every game, scoring great goals from everywhere. I remember he scored a blinder at Stamford Bridge, and he scored a blinder against City as well at their ground. But I just think he needs that run again. So I still think there's a player there. You've got Smodix that was wicked in the Championship. He can play 9 as well. I think they could probably afford to lose him, but like you said, it will take a big fee, and I don't know if you don't want to.
There's too much hype about you. I mean, we had it last year of Luton and their striker. What was his name?
Adarabioyo.
Yeah,
I didn't rate him at all.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, there was that similar hype about him last season, and I think he's still at Luton. You know, struggling in relegation.
The Lap's a baller, though. The Lap is.
He is a baller, but is he ready to jump
I think
up
he's ready.
that table?
I genuinely think you know what it is about him as well. He's got an ego.
I reckon he gets more goals than Jackson if he had the full season at Chelsea.
He definitely gets
more than Jackson.
Do you know what? It's about objectives. To get Chelsea in top 400%, to win the league, then maybe he might not be. That's a different pressure. But he's a baller. I don't think
that's what I'm saying. Do they need to do a stepping stone? I think they need to go out and statement sign a number 9. You know,
I just don't think Chelsea aren't recruiting in a way that shows they're desperate to win the league. I know in terms of finances that have been spent, they should be. But when you look at the players that have been brought in, I'm not sure that they're recruiting to win the league. I'm not sure they're like
They're all
desperate
long-term
to do it either.
future players, isn't it? They're
That's
not
what I
here
think,
and
They
now.
don't want to win
Yeah.
it this year. They want to win it in like 3 years' time, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
And even if they don't, they'd probably be okay without winning it if they made huge financial profit on 90% of the
It's the
income.
polar opposite to what you lot are used to. Like
Yeah,
with
that's what, and that
Abramovich,
is
it
why
was
there's
here
such
and
a
now.
split.
They've got the
in
most
the fan base.
impatient fan base as well. That's the
Yeah.
one fan base you can't do that with.
Oh,
Well,
I'm
that's
gonna
why I
sit
think
here and
it's probably getting toxic in the Chelsea fan base, because you've got the Chelsea fans who are like, "Yo, we used to be a fucking serious
Yeah.
club," and then
Mm.
you've got the other ones who are like, "Trust the process," innit?
Yeah, and then what you've got like the old timers that were there before the Roman days, and they're like, nah, it's still all right. Like, just chill. I was there in the days when we were getting relegated. Like, so
Yeah.
it's like there's like 3 different arguments going on. You've got like the younger generation of the fan base are like very bought into like buying young players, playing career mode. Like they just love like the Wonder Kids side of things, and just that like every academy player coming through is the next best thing. And then you've got like people of like my sort of generation that were there like 10 years ago. We were winning everything, or at least in the hat for pretty much a trophy every season. And it's very difficult to see why you wouldn't act in that way still, when I don't think there was much wrong with the blueprint.
I feel so
then
sorry for
obviously,
you,
like-
mate. I've
Do you know what?
spent
It's
the
just
last 23
it's
years
just-
in the fucking championship, man. Yeah. I mean, LB, you can relate better to me
Yeah, but
than
do
these
you know what
lot,
it
you
is,
know what I'm
Wolfie,
saying?
right?
They're
I
freaking
look at
entitlement here.
I look at your owner and the way that he's acting, and I just think like I see similarities to Roman, and I see similarities
Yeah.
in the way you've built your squad
Yeah.
to how Chelsea teams of the past were built, that they could chop it up in any different way. That if the game needed to be physical, it could be a physical game. If they needed techie ballers, we had it. Like they've got defenders that are happy to sit back and see out a game if it means they get 3 points or win themselves something. I literally see a mirror image of Antonio Conte's Chelsea side pretty much this season in Forest. Like I think it's very similar.
Yeah.
I think the way Nuno plays, and even Amorim as well has spoken about it, like that. A lot of Portuguese coaches really bought into Antonio Conte's style of football in that sort of era. So yeah, I just it's sad to see in a way, but at the same time, like we're trying to build something, and they're trying to do it completely different to what anyone's ever seen before. And I'm hoping that they're going to surprise everyone, but I don't know if I see it right now. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. All right then, man. Well, we're not going to speak too much about Liverpool. In fact, we're not going to speak about Liverpool, Rob, because we know you're winning the league. It's done, bro. And
We kind of did anyway. We kind of
covered it. Let me cover some of these chats before we wrap up. Big up to Sankel. Says LB, we might not win the next 7 games in the Premier League. Love all, says Sankel. Yeah, they're tough, man. They're tough. Nick's got a different view. Was it Nick in the chat then? He says City going to win the next games, every single one. So I tell you what, mate, you get some decent odds on that if you go on a bookies. If we can get some serious money if you put City to win it every single game. Big up to you, lads. Big up to Anthony as well. Says if we go for a rebuild, I reckon we can play Europa League next year. Good for us, and we need to make more signings, says Anthony. Yeah, we definitely
Who
do.
does he
Well,
support?
Yeah, who's these?
I think he's City fan, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm
He's always in
guessing,
my chat. Yeah, City fan.
Mate,
The
City
thing
in
is-
Europa League just sounds unbelievable.
It's
Like,
mad, isn't it? Oh, Europa
that
League.
is
Though. I'm not one of these fans who are like, bin it. I want to go and win it, mate.
nah, go win it, mate. Yeah, 100%.
I want
I'll
to
in
win
there,
it.
LB. Like,
When-
go win it.
When
man.
Atalanta knocked us out last year, a lot of Liverpool fans didn't care. I know they deep down did, but I was fuming.
I want to win it. If we get Europa League, I want to fucking go win it.
Have you
Yeah.
won it before?
No,
Have you
we've
been
never
in it?
before.
Yeah, that's
No.
what you got to go win it then, haven't you?
Yeah, no, we've only won Cup Winners' Cup.
And then next season, get the Conference League, innit?
Yeah, Cup Winners' Cup and Champions League. So yeah, might as well fucking win it, mate. But yeah, we'll see anyway. But all right, lads. Anything? You guys got any shows coming up or out?
not
Yeah, I got
today.
a transfer show tonight. Looking forward to that. Talking about Cunha and how we're probably not going to get him and break my heart. But...
Yeah, but you know what, Wolfie? At least you got like that false hope to have
I
broken.
know.
like, I
They're
look at our
nothing,
news,
innit?
mate, and there's nothing there. We're
I'm
being
telling you, Dan, take it
£10
from a
million
Liverpool
from
fan.
Verona.
That false hope isn't nice. That false
Innit, man? It
isn't
hurts
nice.
more. It hurts more,
Nah, I
especially when
got,
you
like,
see
'cause
them
I saw
signing
the-
Marmoush off us, man. No,
I
not
saw
off
the
us, you know.
Kvara earlier on in Jan, and I was like well excited by it, but then it's just gone dead. Like they're all like PR stories, I think.
At least you lot will get linked to players, and there's actually a possibility of buying them. We just get linked to all these world-class players and not get any.
You need to sort your contracts out with Salah and Van
Exactly.
Dijk, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Exactly.
get that sorted.
Oh, I
first.
saw a thing the other day. One of an old Liverpool legend reckons that 2 of them have signed, but they won't announce it because they're so worried that it would make the other person like be painted in a bad light. So they're saying that 2 players, they reckon they're done. They reckon they're
I
done.
read that as well, Dan. But exactly,
Nah,
I
that's
just think
absolute
if it was
fucking
done,
BS.
if anything, it's the best time because it will give us that extra kick.
Lift. Yeah.
Why on
give
earth
us
would they not? Why on earth
No.
would they not? Why would no, bro? That's not.
It's a
true,
Liverpool
that.
legend, but I can't remember who it was. Like, part of me thinks it was Robbie Fowler, but I don't know if
Nah,
that's
that's
right.
absolute.
He's just
BS,
selling
bro.
properties these days, isn't he?
No,
What's
the
he doing?
Liverpool
I don't know if
fans
it
are in
was him.
meltdown over
It
these
was-
contracts. If they've signed the 2 of them, literally, I promise you now, they're announcing them straight away.
100%.
Yeah, but then everyone say for example, they go Van Dijk and Salah have signed. Then they're gonna like be brutal on Trent or brutal on Salah for not signing. Do you know what I mean? Because I think Van Dijk's nailed on to stay now.
I think
Van
he's
Dijk
the
stays.
one I'm most certain out of the 3.
If Van Dijk
is.
stays, I
Yeah.
think the other 2 leave. And but the thing is, I don't think
Do
Salah
you?
wants to leave. I just don't think they're going to give him the money.
Yeah, we're going to offer him the money. LB, you know what? You know, I said last week and the week before, Salah and Van Dijk stay. I kind of come around to the fact that Salah will leave not because he wants to. I just think FSG you could never know when a decline will start. Even though I don't think his decline's anytime soon. I will say that because he looks after himself. I think he's got another 2-3 years at the top. But I just think FSG don't want to offer that money for someone where you don't know you just don't know how much he's going to give. But yeah, it's annoying. Thanks for that, Wolfie. I was just trying to think positive. I didn't need to hear that.
All right. Well, big up to you guys for jumping on. Big up Wolfie, big up Dan, big up Roms, and obviously Popsy had to dip just a short while ago. But yeah, big up to you guys in the chat, man. Listen, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you smash a like. We're live every Thursday at midday, so make sure you join us, man. It is called the Title Show, but I don't know, maybe we have to get a new name for it. We'll have to get a picture of Wolfie as well, so I can whack him on my thumbnail as well. But yeah, guys, make sure you drop a like on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. If you've got player ratings coming up on the second channel in a bit, I'm going to go gym and that, go shopping. And so maybe about, 4 o'clock, something like that. We'll hit up the player ratings on More LB, link in description. Make sure you're following that for player ratings. Should be interesting. And then maybe I'll do a live later on as well, man. So yeah, drop a like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.